Start the clock.
Right here with me. How's everybody? Neural, stop saying the Trumps need to do what all first families do and get a pet. They have Rex. He's such a dog, his name is Rex. And he thinks his owner is a fucking moron. Which sounds to me like they've got themselves a cat. Neural prunes have to stop calling themselves nature's best laxative. Nature's best laxative is looking in the rearview mirror and seeing this. Neural Catholics upset that Pope Francis dresses too casually and just isn't popey enough should consider a move to the Russian Orthodox Church. Their Pope has more costume changes than a Beyonce concert. Here he is thinking, is 2 candelabras too much? Fuck it. People are coming to see a show. I'm going to give them a show. Neural strangers on hospital elevators who see me carrying a bouquet of flowers have to stop asking, are those for me? No, they're not for you. And neither is comedy. Neural, since the new Blade Runner stars Harrison Ford as a 75-year-old who hunts robots, and the next Terminator will star Arnold as a 72-year-old robot, Harrison Ford has to hunt Arnold in Alien versus Pensioner. They're not too old for this shit. They're too old to shit. And finally, new rule, my dashboard doesn't need any more indicators. Is your seatbelt on? Are your tires inflated? Is your oil changed? Geez. If I wanted to be nagged this much, I'd get married. And right now in Washington, Democrats have introduced federal legislation requiring car manufacturers to install a motion sensor that would remind drivers that they left their kid in the back seat. Really? It's called the Hot Cars Act because turnaround dipshit was too on the nose?
One has to tell the people who participate in adult rapping, the new form of therapy where you get bundled up in a large swaddling cloth to alleviate your posture problems, that, yeah, that's not a thing. No one is looking at you and thinking, there's the future of orthopedics. We're all looking at you and thinking, is it garbage night? New rule, stop saying love means finding someone who looks at you like Ivanka looks at Justin Trudeau. She's not a married woman indulging in some erotic daydream of forbidden desire. She just wants to move to Canada. New rule, now that Vladimir Putin has gone full Borat and actually said, Russian prostitutes are best in the world. Russia must change its tourism slogan to come for the hooker, stay because you fell asleep after you came for the hooker. New rule, someone has to help me decide which was funnier, the part of the inauguration where George Bush was unable to put his rain poncho on, or the part where Dick Cheney leaned forward and said, Jesus, you're still a dumb shit. New rule, if you want your Martin Luther King memorial to appeal to all Americans, don't make it look like he's blocking the fridge.
That's a fair point.
I can't tell if he's speaking truth to power or Oprah. New rule, someone has to tell this woman in Thailand who's impaled her face with 2 large poles that if this is what your God requires to prove your devotion, he's an asshole. New rule, stop telling me about cheese bread in restaurants like it's a dish. It's not. It's just cheese on bread. That's not a dish. It's what divorced guys eat when they run out of hot dogs. New rule, people who bring emotional support animals on planes have to admit they're just too cheap to buy a ticket for their dog. Come on, you need emotional support on the plane? That's what the drink card is for. New rule, people who bring emotional support animals on planes have to admit they're just too cheap to buy a ticket for their dog. Come on, you need emotional support on the plane? That's what the drink card is for. New rule, now that rapper Coolio and his bodyguard have been arrested for possessing a loaded stolen gun while trying to board a plane, some very serious questions need to be asked, starting with, Coolio as a bodyguard? Okay, new rule, Azalea, the chimp at a North Korean zoo that smokes a pack of cigarettes a day, has to admit she also keeps a bottle of vodka in a tree, has a 4-pill-a-day Valium habit, and Snapchats with her old college boyfriend. Just don't judge. It's hard out here for a chimp. New rule, now that Ireland passed a law making it illegal to have sex with someone who's passed out drunk, the Irish have to ask themselves 2 questions. 1, why wasn't this a law to begin with? And 2, where is the next generation going to come from? New rule, someone has to tell this Chinese kid, get out of the algae. It's not good for you. Plus, hey, lunch break is over. Get back to making my iPhone. New rule, stop wondering why NASCAR attendance is plummeting. This is rural America. You're not competing with the NFL, you're competing with meth. I'm sure they'd love to show up and watch the drama of traffic unfold, but how are they going to go outside? That's where the spiders are, man. New rule, liberals must stop pretending that we are better than this. If we were, would you be in the street holding a sign that says we're better than this? I'll tell you who's better than this, Finland. New rule, smart cars are neither smart nor cars. This really doesn't say vanguard of transportation. It says, I want to die in a routine fender bender. New rule, mixologists have to understand something. You care way more about this than we do. This doesn't make me think, wow, I'm so impressed with your advisory. It makes me think, screw it, just give me a beer. New rule, someone has to explain why it's socially acceptable to drink vodka in the morning as long as you pour tomato juice and Worcestershire sauce in it. But if I pour it over my Cheerios, I'm an alcoholic. New rule, the people who make mouthwash must explain, if your product really kills 99.9% of the germs it touches, why do we need those little sanitary cups? Isn't it the one liquid that shouldn't need a special cup? I should be able to drink it directly out of a hobo's shoe. New rule, now that Trump is president, I'm starting a new campaign, Make America Sleep Again. The American dream is dead because nobody can fall asleep. I've tried everything, sleeping pills, counting sheep, talking to Dr. Ben Carson. I'm afraid it's time to bring in the big guns. So does anyone here have the number for Michael Jackson's doctor? I would really... New rule, scientists have to stop studying things we already know. At the University of Toronto, they found that post-sex affection, in other words, cuddling, quote, promotes relationship satisfaction. Really? So doing it with my pants on and then jumping out the window was wrong? Next up, a study on how men don't like it when you point at their penis and go, are you kidding me? New rule, since these are so popular, let's make more stickers that tell coworkers what you did before arriving at the office. You know, like I put bologna in my kid's lunchbox. I jerked off in the shower. And of course, hi, got I really? New rule, the Oscars must become more like the Golden Globes. The Golden Globes is the woman you meet who's hot, tipsy, and fun. And the Oscars is her friend who grabs her and says, come on, we're going home. New rule, if an airline mixes up your kid with another kid, flies them both to the wrong cities, then reunites them with the wrong mothers, like JetBlue did last month, don't automatically assume it's a bad thing. The other kid may be smarter or better looking. In which case, don't think of it as losing a son. Think of it as a free upgrade. I don't know if anybody from my tribe of atheists ever thanked you for giving us a shout out at your first inaugural, but you did mention non-believers.
That's right.
I think it was
More than once.
More than once.
I mean, it's not just in that speech. I've done it often.
Well, we appreciate it. Because we do feel like untouchables to a degree. I mean, I don't know if you saw the latest religion survey, but almost a quarter of the country are nuns. I don't mean the ones who hit me on the knuckles with a ruler in Sunday school. I mean, they put none for religion.
None of the above.
Right. But they're not, no, they're atheists, agnostics, or they just don't want to get up on Sunday morning. And we have no representation in Congress. If our numbers were represented, there'd be over 100 Congress people who felt that way. It just seems like we are not included in the basket of diversity in America, which is odd because we are the biggest minority. That is a bigger minority than any other minority you can name. And don't you think we should get a little more love?
You know, I guess my question would be whether there is active persecution of atheists. I think that there are certain, well, I think for a candidate, I think you're right, that there are certain
we might be more
occupations,
scientific.
probably most prominently politics, where there would be a bias against somebody who's agnostic or atheist in running for office. I think that's still true. Outside of that arena, though, you seem to have done all right with your TV show. I don't get a sense. To the extent that they're boycotting you, it's because of your other wacky ideas rather than your particular view on religion.
What are my other wacky ideas?
You know,
I usually agree with you.
I think the average American, if they go to the workplace, somebody's next to them, they're not poking around trying to figure out what their religious beliefs are. So here's what I would say, that I think that we should foster a culture in which people's private religious beliefs, including atheists and agnostics, are respected. And that's the kind of culture that I think allows all of us then to believe what we want. That's freedom of conscience. That's what our Constitution guarantees. And you know, where we get into problems, typically, is when our personal religious faith or the community of faith that we participate in tips into a sort of fundamentalist extremism in which it's not enough for us to believe what we believe, but we start feeling obligated to, you know, hit you over the head because you don't believe the same thing, or to treat you as somebody who's less than I am.
But we might be more pro-science in America if we were less religious, don't you think?
Well, you know, I think the issues we have with science these days are not restricted to what's happening with respect to religion. There are a lot of very religious scientists around. I think the problem is that in our school systems, and to some degree, and this is where it is relevant, with school boards around the country that are mandating curriculums and textbooks, you start seeing this weird watering down of scientific fact, so that our kids are growing up in an environment, and this connects to what I was saying earlier about the media, where everything's contested, that nothing is true, because if it's on Facebook, it all looks the same. And if you're reading something from a Nobel Prize winning physicist next to, you know, some guy in his underwear, you know, writing in his basement, or his mom's basement, on text, it looks like it's equally plausible. And part of what we have to do a better job of, if our democracies function in a complicated, diverse society like this, is to teach our kids enough critical thinking to be able to sort out what is true and what is false, what is contestable and what is incontestable. And we seem to have trouble with that, and our political system doesn't help.
on the rising sun, clutching at your holster gun, waiting on a shooting star. And I can be wherever you are, sifting through the mud and the bricks, looking for a strong fix. You can't buy what you can't find, but you can't buy what you find that you can't buy, but you can't.
Start the clock.
Hi, I'm Eva Longoria, and new rule. You've got to go see my new documentary, Food Chains. And speaking of food chains, I can't think of any lower person on the food chain than a guy who would take money from coal companies and then deny man-made climate change. On Tuesday, flip John Klein. Go to flipadistrict.com.
Okay, you know, people say to me all the time, Bill, I get all my news from your show. I say, as it should be. But what about August when we're off? That's the problem. But here's the thing. For people who get all the news from our show, don't worry, because our crack staff, who is so crack, they can predict the future. So we do this as a tradition every time we're taking a break. Future headlines that you know are going to happen. For example, mass illness on Carnival Cruise Line. Okay, that's just, you know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Royal baby does something every baby does. World is blown away. Okay. Gun accident claims life of exactly the kind of person you'd expect. Scientists discover mice have been bullshitting them for decades. Malaysia Airlines lands one. Oh, well, it's gonna happen. That thing the NSA says it doesn't do, it does. Yeah, that's funny. In 5-4 decision, Supreme Court rules female orgasm unconstitutional. That is inevitable. That is inevitable. So gonna happen. NFL season begins. Americans realize how much soccer blows. And GM to recall 3 remaining cars. It is graduation month, and we've done this before on this show. If you're anybody here is graduating or know someone who's graduating this month, a very joyous occasion. And at the graduation ceremonies, the students have taken to writing little messages on their caps, like, thanks, Mom and Dad, I love you, or hire me. That's a very popular one. It always seems impossible until it's done. Well, in these difficult times, the millennials, you know, they write different things on their caps that are a little more pointed. Would you like to see some of the ones we took pictures of? Okay. For example, if you can read this, you obviously didn't go here. Thanks, Mom, and the woman who used to be Dad. Hire me or I'll join ISIS. Oh, right there.
We do need to do something.
PhD in science, but willing to deny global warming. Texaco, call me. Thank you, Sigma Alpha Epsilon, for not raping me. Will work for Adderall. Clueless, incompetent, TSA, hire me. Zero student debt, thanks sugardaddies.com. And cum laude, I sure do. All right, that one's always a winner. After listening to the people and boning up on the congressmen and their boners, mistakes, not dirty-minded people. And after mulling over 16 candidates, tonight we start announcing the final 4. And it's all playing out on our new website. Check it out, flipadistrict.com. And it restores my faith in the people that the candidate who garnered the most votes in the first round, the round of 16, is truly one of the most deserving to take a fucking hike. From Minnesota's 2nd District, give a nice real-time welcome to Congressman John Klein, the first one of our final 4. Now, he is not the most outrageous or quote-worthy. He's just a down-the-line right-wing asshole. The kind of guy who, when people say, why doesn't anything get done anymore? This guy! And one's just like him, that's why! So remember, only one lucky district can receive our offer of shining a national spotlight on your loser of a representative. And there are only 3 slots left, so if your guy is one of the 15 remaining candidates, keep hitting us up on hashtag FlipADistrict and at FlipADistrict.com. It's time once again for our FlipADistrict update. We are down to a final 4 representatives, one of whom will wear the crown of congressman people most want to see out on their ass. Last week, John Klein of Minnesota was the first to go up on the board. This week, we head down to Corpus Christi, Texas. Joining the final 4, one of my favorites from the Tweet 16, Blake Farenthold. Come on down, Blake. Now, it'll take an act of God to unseat this guy because The Hill magazine named him #1 on the list of Congress members who benefited most from gerrymandering. But we can't pray him away. I'll take a good old-fashioned ground game any day, Corpus Christi. Remember, there are 2 weeks till our summer break, 2 more slots to go. Go to FlipADistrict.com or hashtag FlipADistrict. FlipADistrict, this week in our bracket, we've got some hot kook-on-kook action. First, from Michigan's 7th, it's birther Tim Wahlberg, who said recently that Americans are, quote, slaves to humanism, pleasure, sexual perversion, drugs, and drunkenness. They are if you do it right. And from Indiana 2nd, it's Jackie Walorski. Jackie was a state rep who lost her bid for Congress in 2010. So what the Republicans did for her? They gave her new voters. That's right, she is a gerrymandering queen. And don't forget, this is what we are fighting against. So there are only 2 slots left. And like an insecure porn actress, we're looking to fill both holes. This is your last chance, people. The last 2. So hit us up on social media using hashtag FlipADistrict. Let's go move on to FlipADistrict because yesterday we found out which 16 teams made it through to the knockout round of the World Cup. But tonight we complete our Tweet 16 bracket of congressmen competing in FlipADistrict. First up, we would like to reward the fans who made a kick-ass website to kick the ass of Washington State's Dave Reichert. But stiff competition, Dave. In the man from Tennessee's 4th, Scott DeJarle. Scott is a veteran of our previous Craziest Congressman series here on the show. He's a family values pro-life guy who had affairs with at least 6 women in his clinic. Yes, he's a doctor, and yes, he pressured at least one of them to have an abortion. Please, Jesus, let it be this guy. Anyway, we will announce the final 4 on our next show 2 weeks from tonight. If you want your loser to win his way to the final round, hit us up on social media using hashtag FlipADistrict. New rule, if you live near Minneapolis, you must open your window right now and tell me if you see a coal mine. No? Then you need to vote out the guy who cares more about coal companies than he does about you. Now close the window, you lunatic. It's cold in Minneapolis. Go to FlipADistrict.com. We are down to a final 4 representatives, one of whom will be announced at our September 12th Washington, D.C. show as the loserest loser of all. Last week, Blake Farenthold of Corpus Christi was the second to go up on the board. This week, our loser congressman is a congresswoman. It's Renee Elmers of North Carolina's 2nd District. She's running against Clay Aiken and... She is.
It's the punchline.
And talking like Todd Aiken. Here's what this genius said last week. Men do tend to talk about things on a much higher level. We need our male colleagues to understand that if you can bring it down to a woman's level and everything that she is balancing in her life, that's the way to go. A woman's level? Has she met Louis Gohmert? So welcome to the final 4, Renee Elmers. 1 more week till our summer break. 1 more slot to go. Go to FlipADistrict.com or hashtag FlipADistrict. Okay. There you go. Every couple of weeks, we've been adding flip-worthy candidates to our Tweet 16 bracket. I've been following that. Time to add two more. From Michigan, say hello to former professional Santa Claus impersonator. I'm not making that up. And current amateur congressman, Kerry Benevolio. His constituents there on the 11th District are very excited about the prospect of a Kerry-less future. But he's got competition from New Jersey's 5th. That happens to be my hometown, where my sister still lives. And Congressman Scott Garrett, you are not liked by a lot of people in my old hood. I read up on you. You're probably going to win, but you are kind of a dick. So let's put these guys up on the bracket. The bracket is starting to fill up, so remember, if you want to use our magnifying glass to burn your pesky aunt of a congressman, hit us up on social media, #FlipADistrict. Now, all right, now it's time to update our FlipADistrict brackets. Out of nowhere comes Congressman John Klein from Minnesota's 2nd District. Students there launched the FlipADistrict Twitter campaign that sent Klein skyrocketing from number 75 all the way to number 1. And we here at Real Time listen to the people. Klein didn't just oppose the Student Loan Forgiveness Act. He actually wrote a bill to reduce the budget deficit by raising rates on student loans. But if Klein makes it to the finals, he might have to contend with Steve Sutherland from Florida's 2nd. He's a mortician who was swept into office in 2010's teabag takeover. And what this mortician wants to embalm more than anything is food stamps. He's the leader in the House to reduce benefits. He's an evangelical who believes strongly in Jesus' message to the poor, thou shalt shut up and get a job. So let's throw these up on the bracket. And don't forget, if you've got a congressman you want to tell us about, hit us up on social media using #FlipADistrict. FlipADistrict, everybody. You've been following the FlipADistrict? Hi, I'm Johnny Olson, and today's contestants on our evil plan to oust one super lame congressman in this November's elections are Ted Yoho. And no, the name is hardly the stupidest thing about him. And Mike Kaufman, the congressman who said that Obama, in his heart, is not American, which explains the deal with the Taliban. Now, Mike is from Colorado's 6th District, and he is very flippable. So our friends out there in Colorado, put down the joint and hit us up on social media and get your boy in the running, because the other guy, Ted Yoho, is a long shot. He is in one of those safe for conservative districts that send people to Congress like Ted Yoho. Ted Yoho, who mused out loud that maybe we should go back to the system where only landowners could vote. Really, Florida's 3rd? This guy said that and he's untouchable. Come on, get it below 10 points and we'll talk. All right, let's put these two up on the bracket. Remember, there are 6 slots left. It's getting exciting. #FlipADistrict is all you need to know to get in the game. FlipADistrict, it's coming down to the wire as we add a couple more boobs to the brassiere known as FlipADistrict bracket. First up, one of the most reliably ridiculous right-wingers from Iowa's 4th, Steve King. No, not Stephen King. This guy's even scarier. Also going up tonight from Michigan's 1st, please give a warm FlipADistrict welcome to future former Congressman Dan Banashik. Dan and his hair were both swept into office in the 2010 wave. He's a medical doctor who says global warming is, quote, all baloney. I don't know much about him, but he sure sounds like a real asshole. Remember, there are only 4 slots left, so if you're in desperate need of a radical douchectomy, hit us up on social media using #FlipADistrict.
You can't buy what you can't find, but you can't buy what you find.